Welcome to SQL Server Stored Procedures, Part 3. In the last lesson, we saw how to create stored procedures. To insert new record and update a single row in the persons table. Today, we shall be looking at how to create a stored procedure. To fetch all records another stored procedure to fetch a single record.
Yes, sir.
And another stored procedure to delete a single row from the persons table. So let's begin. Thank you. So we begin by starting Management Studio. We search for Management Studio here. We click on Run as Administrator. In User Account Control, we click Yes. So now, we are going to connect to the database engine using Windows Authentication. Don't forget that whenever you successfully connect, Object Explorer will be displayed.
Okay.
So now let's expand Databases node. Let's expand Persons DB. Let's expand Tables.
Okay.
So this is the table that we are currently creating stored procedures. That's persons. So let's create stored procedure to fetch all rows.
Okay.
We right click on the database, we say new query.
Okay.
Stored procedure to return all persons record.
Okay.
All persons record from the persons table. From where?
Persons table.
We shall order the records returned in ascending order of first name.
Okay.
In ascending order of what?
First name.
First name. So as usual, we say create procedure. Let's call it return all persons. Now this is the stored procedure name. Don't forget. Not parameter name.
Not variable name.
Not variable. Now, note that stored procedures that return all rows in a table, all rows in a table, do not have any input parameters.
Okay.
You know what I mean by input parameters? Don't add stuff. So that's why we are not going to have at.
As.
So let's just say as. Let's have begin. The start of procedure body. Let's have end. End of procedure body. Now, let's press enter. Let's increase indent. Let's increase indent. Okay. Now let's right click on empty space and say design query in editor. And we can now select persons table, then we click add. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Now let's select all the columns one after the other. We are returning all the columns.
Okay.
Now we want to order by first name. So let's pick. You can see that under sort type by first name, I'm going to select ascending. If it's descending, I'll select descending. So that is all there is to this. This is to return all rows.
Okay.
Then let me increase indent. Let me increase indent. So this is what we have. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Let's pass our stored procedure. This is what you have command completed successfully. Let's click execute. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Now you go to Object Explorer, go to Programmability under Persons DB, expand stored procedures, and you have this new stored procedure, return all persons. Right click on it and say execute stored procedure. So you can see that this stored procedure does not present any parameter in the execute procedure dialog because we did not create anyone for it. So when you click OK, let's see what happens. This is what it returns. You can see that Barrack's record comes before Mary's Lexus record, since we are ordering by first name.
Okay.
All right. How about stored procedure to return a single person's record? A single person's record. It is, let me say, most apps fetch a single record based on primary key.
Okay.
Column. Primary key column, which in this case, in this case is person ID. Are you following?
Yes.
So let's say create procedure to return a single person. That's the stored procedure name. So there's going to be one parameter
Okay.
at person ID.
Mm.
That type is big int.
Mm.
Input parameter which is used to determine which row, are you following, will be fetched from the person's table.
Okay.
Are you following? Now each row will be fetched from the person's table. Now because it's a single record, we don't need order by. Are you following? Now let's select this. Let's right click on it and go to design query in editor. As you can see, it's a select statement. All we need to do is just to put in a filter, which is the input parameter. Are you following?
Yes.
So it becomes select person ID, first name, last name, gender ID from persons, where person ID equals
Yes.
at person ID. So you click OK. These two lines. Let's adjust. Okay, so that's what we have. Are you following?
Yes.
So let's pass. Command completed successfully. Let's execute. Let's go back to Object Explorer. Let's right click on Start Procedure here. Procedures here, and we click refresh. So we have Start Procedure to return a single person.
Okay.
We right click on it and we click Execute Start Procedure. If we pass in a person ID of 1 and you click OK, it returns Mary Slessor. Are you following?
Yes.
Go back again, right click on the same Start Procedure. Say Execute Start Procedure. Are you following? Pass in a value of 2. It returns Barack Obama. Go back, right click on return a single person Start Procedure. Execute Start Procedure. Pass in a value of 4. Click OK. It returns an empty record set because there is no person with a person ID of 4 in the database. The last but not the least, like I told you, will be Start Procedure to delete a person's record from person's table. Now most app delete a single record based on primary key column, which in this case is still person ID. Are you following?
Yes.
So now create procedure, delete a person. Are you following?
Yes.
At person ID will still be there, which is input parameter, which is used to determine which row will be deleted. Are you following?
Yes.
From the person's table as begin end. Are you following?
Yes.
Now you have this Start Procedure, which is select. That's the transact SQL statement, which is select. This is the transact SQL statement. Select.
Okay.
So we highlight it. We go to design query in editor. Then we go to change type. Right now it is select. We want it to become what? Delete. And you can see it has even changed it from delete from persons, where person ID is equal to at person ID. Now let me show you something. What if we were to remove this filter? It becomes delete from person. Now this is a dangerous statement. This is a dangerous what? Because as, because this statement will delete all persons record, record from the database.
Okay.
And the database admin will be in trouble. Will be in what? Trouble.
Data got missing.
If this is a production table.
Okay.
If this is what?
A production table.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So now we don't want to delete all persons record. We need to specify which one we are going to delete. So how do we do that? Let's highlight this statement again. Delete from persons. Go to design query. Pass in the filter of person ID. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So it becomes delete from persons, where person ID is equal to at person what? ID. Let's pass. Are you following? Let's execute. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So now go to Object Explorer. Right click. Refresh. So you have the stored procedure, delete a person. And right click on it, execute the stored procedure.
Okay.
I pass in a person ID of 1.
Okay.
I click OK. Now you see return value of 0. You see one row affected. Now if I go to persons table and I click on it and say select top 1000 rows, you can actually see that only barracks record is left. Mary's Lexus record has actually been deleted. I'm not going to delete barracks record. Are you following? Now let me go to let me right click on the stored procedure again. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So I say execute stored procedure. And then I pass in stored value of 7, which doesn't exist. The special ID of 7 does not exist. I click OK. The stored procedure is actually, you see 0 rows affected. You understand what that means? No row was actually deleted.
Okay.
That's what 0 rows affected there is. So go again.
But the base resource of was deleted.
But in this case, no record will be deleted because there is no person ID of 7 currently in the database. So with that, we end today's lesson.
Okay.